We come together in spiritual community to touch the sacredness, the sacred truth within ourselves. As I was going through that meditation, what I touched was that place where I need to take that leap of faith. That's what we're talking about this month. In particular today, we're talking about come to the edge. Come. I think of the witch, right? Come, my little pretty. It's not where I was going. But you know, it's all one thing, right? So for me, the leap of faith is, and I experienced this yesterday. I wasn't feeling very well yesterday, so the snow was coming in my home, and I could see it from my bedroom falling out the window, and it kept coming, and it kept coming, and it kept coming. And all of a sudden, you know, every once in a while, my dog would jump up on the bed. I have this big standard poodle, and she'd woof, woof. And I think, oh, you know, it's getting dark, and I'm out there by myself, and for some reason, I'm kind of edgy, you know? And I think, oh my gosh, what's happening? And then I realize it's, of course, another branch that's crack, you know, with the heavy snow out there. And so the edge for me, that leap of faith, that edge is just being still and with myself. For what seems like an extended, or has the potential to be an extended period of time, an eternity, in fact. Not just today because it's snowing and I don't have any appointments. Difference. How do we do our spiritual practice? We fit it in, we try to fit it in, or we schedule it, or we don't schedule it, or we think about the fact we haven't done any. It's kind of all like in this level of our mental exercise. It's at the level of mental exercise. Instead of making a priority for ourselves to be. When we can sort and organize and control the doingness, then we can be. And how long do we allow for that period of being, I might add? Even here in the meditation first. Today I opened my eyes. I saw a few of you with your eyes open, many of you with your eyes closed. I don't usually open my eyes. For some reason I needed to do that. And I could feel the energy. Some were sinking, you know, some were like, okay, when's this going to be over? You know, let's get on. Let's get on with the food for thought. Right? Instead of just the beingness. Come to the edge. Come to the edge of what? Now each of you will have the whatever word or idea to fill in the blank. For me, it's come to the edge of faith, which implies underneath that surrender. And that's why I chose that chant today. Or that's why I chose me. And when I drop, does this happen to you? When you don't make yourself do spiritual practice, when you just you find, you discover you're in one of those days and you want to go with it, right? You just go with the flow. Now, you may be sequestered or you may be in connection. I'm talking about those times when you're sequestered, when you're all by yourself. Do you ever think or feel or question, will I ever come back? Do I want to come back? Maybe I could take one more day. I was in my favorite bagel shop this morning and the fellow said, it's a snow day. And I went, yeah? Yesterday was a snow day. Yesterday? I said, yes, I lay in bed all day. All day I was in my bed. The snow was falling. It was definitely a snow day yesterday. And he said, well, I think it's a snow day today. And I said, no. He said, why don't you make it a snow day today? And my immediate response was, no, I can't have 2 snow days in a row. And I went, okay, come to the edge of now I know what I'm talking about, right? We always talk about what we need to remember or let the penny drop on. So, There's many reasons we come to the spiritual path. For me, this particular teaching, one of which is to have a deeper sense of belonging and connection to myself, which doesn't exclude anything or anyone. To become empowered, to be able to change my conditions, to have courage to change them, to have the faith to change them, to be able to trust the mystery, that which I do not know yet, as opposed to leaning into that which I know. That's where I want to go on this spiritual path. And of course, to create a deeper sense of acceptance of myself and of life. When I accept myself, as I accept myself, so I accept life. If I'm not pushing up against me, then I don't see anything out there to push up against. Reverend Teresa isn't here today, but one of the things she says and has said recently to me, which really stuck in my mind this time, is God in action is happening here, full stop. God in action is happening here. Full stop. We don't need to define it, analyze it, prove it. Well, of course, the human mind needs to prove it, but really, we will come to a place in surrender where we don't have to prove it anymore. I used to think that the things I didn't choose in life made me what I am. And now I know different. That I always chose. Not always consciously. Whether I was in reaction or response to something, whether I liked it or I didn't like it, whether I was in pain or I was in joy, that which within me that knows, chose. My soul. The leap of faith igniting our soul. Yeah. We came in here with something. Some kind of purpose, some kind of reason for being. There it is, reason for being, not reason for doing. Reason for being. And that's what gives us the meaning of life, the meaning to our lives. So yesterday when I was lying watching that snow day appear outside my window, I was watching I watched many movies. I had a movie day. Did you ever do that? I remember about 8 years ago on Boxing Day, for 24 hours I watched 24. Yeah, I love that. Yesterday I watched a movie with Kiefer Sutherland in it, which is not a very good movie, but that's not the one I want to talk about. The one I wanted to share with you was it was called In the Hive. Any of you seen that? Well, one of the things that Miss Inez said, who was kind of the house mother to this school where they raised Afro-American young men who were just on the edge of moving off into a life they could never recover from. Miss Inez said, when the young boy's father came to the celebration and graduation, looking dirty and smelly and unkempt with his woman of the week, and the young son looked at this father, who obviously was missing in action a lot in his life, and he said, Miss Inez, I gotta go get something in the kitchen. She said, you stop right there. And you go pray with your feet. Love that. Pray with your feet. And you go tell him you're happy he's here. And you go take him to the closet and get him some new clothes if that's what you want to do and he wants to do. But you pray with your feet. That, of all the movies I watched, that is the sentence that stuck with me. That was the idea. And I realized, come to the edge. Come to the edge. Oh, no, we're comfortable lying in our bed watching movies and the snow's happening outside, Come to the edge. We're too busy contemplating on what being means as opposed to doing. Come to the edge. Oh, it's way too high for me. Come to the edge. We're afraid. We're afraid. Come to the edge. I'm not going to fall. I've come too far. Come to the edge. And I did. And I pushed. And I flew. Pray with your feet. We're always going somewhere. And usually there's always an edge to it. What's the edge? It's that place just on the other side of your pattern of beliefs. Any of you know what a Zen koan is? A Zen koan, K-O-A-N. Shirley? Yeah? I've heard of that. Well, in Zen Buddhism, it's really, it's either a brief paradoxical statement or a story that is used as a discipline in meditation. And the purpose of a koan is that the effort you take to solve it usually exhausts the analytical intellect and will, which leaves your mind open to respond to the intuitive level or your intuition. So I'm going to share one with you right now. Okay. It's called The Monk, the Old Woman, and the Girl. Some of you may be familiar with it. There was an old woman in China who had supported a monk for over 20 years. She had built a little hut for him and fed him while he was meditating. Finally, she wondered just what progress he had made in all this time. So to find out, she obtained the help of a girl who was quite rich in desire. Go and embrace him, she told her, and then ask him suddenly, what now? Well, the girl called upon the monk, and without much ado caressed him, and asked him what he was going to do about it. An old tree grows on a cold rock in winter, replied the monk, somewhat poetically. Nowhere is there a warmth. Well, the girl returned and related what he'd said to the old woman. Enraged, she said, to think that I had fed that fellow for over 20 years. He showed no consideration for your need, no disposition to explain your condition. He need not have responded to your passion, but at least he could have evidenced some compassion. She went at once to the hut of the monk and burned it down. Why? Because she found his practice to be barren. One of the things that I know in ministry, one of the purposes my soul is on the planet, is to remember that I only know my divinity, which is my eternal potentiality in the world of the universe and beyond, in the mystery, through embracing my humanity. She burned it down because she found his practice barren. Be in the world, but not of it. He was not of it. This is our quest and our journey, both, right? One of our icons of religious science in our movement passed away 2 nights ago on Hallows Eve. Her name was Dr. Jane Claypool. She wrote many, 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 many of the science and mind curriculums. She was awarded years ago. I think she wrote 80 children's books. Anyway, she was like powerful and fierce, and her last book was called Wise Women Don't Sing the Blues. Feisty. She passed through from the veil, they say, is there, from this world to the other world, be in the world but not of it, on Hallows Eve. It is the place where we are most open. His practice was barren. If the monk's practice had helped him to transcend his desire, he would have had the resources and empathy to question the young woman's inappropriate and out-of-context desire. If his practice truly helped him to transcend his desire, he would have had the resources and empathy. This story helps us see women in the role of practical checkpoints. As a monk snuffed out his humanity, or has a monk snuffed out his humanity by practicing austerities? The old woman tests the monk's lifetime wisdom, as she didn't believe that a monk's hut-dwelling lifestyle is proof of enlightenment. She wanted to know how a monk responds to the unpredictable. What does a monk do when a person becomes confused and needy? What do you do when you become confused and needy? Do you pull out your best spiritual practice? Or do you sit with it and call that spiritual practice? Yeah, I can see the heads. Good. How does he balance his feelings of passion? This one really spoke to me. How do you balance your feelings of passion and your role as a vessel of compassion in the service to all beings? Because this question alone sets up a separation in us, a natural separation. It's either this or that, but it can't be both. There is passion in compassion, yes. There is compassion in passion, yes. As we hold the concepts. But when we go to move into with our actions, and if desire is there or attachment, they get kind of confused. And either we go at one end of the stick or the other, because it's safer that way. To embrace our humanity is to embrace and express. You can't embrace anything you can't be, for it's only there for a thought. But to embrace or embody our expression of passion, that means we're living passionately. To embrace or embody that idea of being compassionate to the service of all means that that is the way we are living. The old lady knew there was a difference between repressing feelings and letting go of them. How many times have I repressed my passion to be compassionate to another? So another way of saying that is, how many times have I forgotten the needs and desires within myself in order to show up at what I thought was a higher level or a more spiritual level to serve others? How many times? I cannot count. I've lost count. Answer? Quick answer? What's the quick answer? The quick answer: to live passionately, to heed and listen to that within you that rises, to be with it, to be still with it, to stay in it, and let it speak to you as you listen. Harmony is our natural state. It is the natural state of the universe. There is a place where passion comes together with compassion. Compassion, passion? Passion, compassion? How can you pull them apart? She knew there was a difference between repressing feelings and just letting them go. She knew that there was a difference between austerity and genuine non-attachment. Come to the edge of what? What is your word there? Think of that. Come to the edge of what? What is it you hesitate to walk toward? Where is it you hesitate to stand? Where is it you hesitate to focus upon? And can you just let that go? Whatever that reason is, whatever that why question, however that is answered, can you just let that go and pray with your feet? The woman also knew that providing a hut for a monk can be giving him a place to hide, not a place to practice. Master teacher Hakuin once said, meditation in action is endlessly more important than meditation in stillness. The joining, once again, meditation in action is endlessly more important than meditation in stillness. Which does not mean that meditation in stillness is not important. It's all important. It's all sacred. It's just not serious. How long have we stood at the edge waiting for a push? So what is your life? What do you feel? This is what the cone brings up to us. What is it that races through our heart and our mind? Where is our body in this story? Is there any part of you that you do not play? Are you the monk? Are you the old woman? What about the young girl? How about the hut? I'll go for hut. Oh yeah. Did you hide in your hut? Hut. Hut 1, 2, 3. No, I'm sorry. I always throw myself off so I can remain spontaneous. It's probably a good thing. So there is a difference between a dream that we might have and an inspiration. A dream. If we focus on the dream and we align our lives to support the dream in thought, word, and deed, then we can, with assurity, or what's my word here? Assurance, thank you. Absurdity. My mind was going to absurdity. Isn't that funny? Know that it will come into our result or the world of effects in some way, either in our experience of it or in the form, the reality of it. But we often fall off the path to our focus. A lot of things distract us. If we have inspiration, though, that will be the fuel. And we can't get inspiration from results. Inspiration does not come from the physical form of anything. It comes from an inner knowing of the soul and the spirit. So can we live our life? Can we come and walk toward the edge through our spiritual practice, but also through every little interaction that happens, whether we call it good, whether we call it bad, whether we're challenged, whether we're ignited and enthused about something? Can we keep walking and praying so that the edge doesn't become this horrific, oh no, if not this, then this? There isn't either or, there's just and both. What if we were to walk in this world? What is that saying? Walk gently but carry a heavy stick? What if we were to walk edgy? Wow, bold, but also gentle. Walking edgy to me, come to the edge of my faith to me, means, once again, just to be who I am in the moment. And not to even try to understand or deduce or analyze or project or assume that however I may be is going to be good or bad, better or best for other people. Even in this position. We all have ministries. In religious science, we say whatever is the highest and best for me is the highest and best for all people. Do we really know what the highest and best for ourselves is? This much disparity, maybe. Maybe some days we're closer to being with ourselves. But do we still know what the highest and best for ourselves is? This is the journey. It's a journey of discovery. It's all been given to us. We know that. Everything that God is, we are. Everything that life is, we are. What are we having faith in? Our human capacity? No. Because our capacities will change, right? But they'll always grow. They might be different, but they'll always grow because we're expanding and exploring. That's what we do. Because we are that mind of God, that allness that is, that all-powerful, all-knowing, all-loving energy that is intelligent, that is moving upon itself to produce creation. Unity flowing into multiplicity. That is what we are. We don't need to prove that. We just need to have the experience of discovering it. You know, athletes are hungry, and I know you probably know some people in your own life. I don't. But people who are physically challenged and who have achieved, magnificent things. Because why? They've overcome their challenge, right? They were focused, they were disciplined, they were committed, they were hungry. They didn't stop, they didn't let anything stop them. They knew if they surmounted their obvious challenge in a field which required excellence in order to win, that they could win over everything. But in order to move beyond the challenge, they had to work with the challenge. They didn't run away from the challenge. They had to stand in the challenge, face the challenge, and know the truth in the challenge. Steve Prefontaine had reached the height of his running career. He lost to Lasse Viren in the Olympic 5,000 meters in Munich. The loss led him to consider quitting the sport. His coach, Bill Bowerman, told him, if you're going to run, be at the track and I'll give you the workouts. Or if you're going to stop running, then do that. You decide. I can't coach desire. God or universal intelligence is not a coach. Nor can God or universal subjective intelligence, or the field that takes the impress of our deepest belief system, neither can that demonstrate our desire without us first having a clear mental equivalent of what it is we wish to create. When we build a mental equivalent in our relative field of mind, which is laced and adorned and enriched by our experience in life, in the absolute realm is being built a spiritual prototype. So the complement to what we build in our own mind is being built in the universal intelligence subjective field. It's energy. It's all energy. The difference is, in the subjective, in the universal subjective, everything, infinite possibility, can be drawn and attracted into that idea. Whereas in our own mind, we can't think infinitely. We can only think through our experience and our imagination. So come to the edge of faith is having this idea, not about what can our human capacity create, but it's coming to the edge of the idea to have faith that there is that which knows, that lives within us, yes, that can pull from a much farther field of possibility. So as we think into it, it already knows what to do. The law of growth is happening. The law of attraction is happening. The law of correspondence is happening. Until eventually, down through our experience and back out onto us, it is done as we believe. But like the athlete, we must be in that place within us where fear might reside, where lack of courage, where doubt, where stillness, where confusion. Stay, stay, stay. Staying is almost like coming to the edge. Maybe it's the same thing. Maybe a leap of faith and coming to the edge and staying. Knowing the truth is all the same thing. There are appropriate and inappropriate actions in our lives. So we must just think of how we are as a dance. And within the dance, we must all relate to each other as precious and as valuable as I hope we can relate to ourselves. Meditation in action, as we are. We do this and truth reveals itself. For one of us and all of us, therefore, belong to the same great boundless family. One thing, we are empty and bright. And that other thing reveals too, you and me, just as we are, fleshy and messy. Fleshy and messy. Angry, lustful, forgetful, shy, aggressive. Name it as yours, know it. Really know it. It is the Buddha way presented. It is the Buddha way. Here, with this racing heart, here, with our own beliefs, actions, and their effects, it is all revealed, no place else. In the monk, in the old woman, in the girl, in the burning of the hut, smoke rises. Smell those ashes and feel the sap rising, ready to send out a new branch. Look, feel, right here, right here. Our bodies are wrapped around our souls. Our families, communities, our global environment is wrapped around the quality of our consciousness. Let's pray with our feet as we head for the edge of our own reality and call it good and very good. And so it is. Thank you.